Hi everyone, I'm Stella Stevie and I'm a fitness and health coach for women in menopause, and I am the host of this Inspire show. I always have a guest who can inspire you on some way. And today here is Sharon. Hi Sharon.
Hi, nice to meet you, Stella.
Nice to meet you also. Thank you for
And
coming.
it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to the audience for being here as well.
Thank
So,
you. Hi Sharon. So you are in family wellness. What it
uh,
means for family wellness.
family wellness, it's a actually a it's a sort of a gamut of all the things that helps you have a well family, which includes things like nutrition. Learning how to talk to one another is a huge part, like learning how to talk to your spouse, your children, teenagers, your coworkers, how to deal with difficult situations. Also, things like uh, how to have fun together as a family. Different ways that you can eat together and make food more fun and more, nourishing food more fun to eat. How's that? And I work a lot with belief systems with couples uh, because when two people come into a marriage, they come from different families. And so they come with different values and different beliefs. And it's looking at them and seeing whether or not they serve them as a family, if they want to let them go and change them to something that serves the family, or whether or not they're willing to just keep them and make them work. It's one of those things that I like to do. We look at all the gamut. So we look at how everybody is sleeping, how people are coping with stress. How much joy do you have? If you work all day and you have to commute an hour both ways and then come home and prepare a meal, there may not be a lot left for your children and your spouse, right? So it's
Mhm.
how to make that time, condense that time so you have some time for your family every day. Those are some of the things that I work on with. Uh, Very often people come to a relationship with, with ideas that they don't agree with each other. They very often come with some sorts of illnesses. And then, of course, as time passes, we have hormonal changes. Sometimes the
Mhm.
hormonal changes are uh, well, they can be very difficult on a family for a period of time. Whether it's a hormonal changes because women are cycling through. I mean, do you have any children, by the way?
Yes, I have two daughters,
So
adult
you
daughters. Yes.
two daughters. So you understand then when I have two daughters and a son, and one of the things that happened is we all ended up cycling together at the same time, and I could always tell when we were out of hand because my former husband would look at my son and say, "I think you and I need to go out." It was his way of saying, "It's all of this estrogen and progesterone is too much for us." Um, so there's that. And then, of course, when you become perimenopausal, you have mood swings and you have all kinds of hormonal
Yes.
changes. And it's about helping women through that period of time. And generally uh, when women are during that phase, I work more on foods and activities that will help support your hormones, that sort of thing. So that sort of encompasses family wellness. It's huge. So when I work with families, I find out what it is they want, and then we work towards getting that. And most of the time, people want peace and harmony in their home. They want to be able to have time to enjoy their family. And so I help them with that.
Yes, because many people doesn't understand that it's the home has to be the place we really like to live with people,
Mhm.
with our family, and not just to to release our stress.
Mhm. And home should be a place that everybody wants to go and they want to meet up. and they get family time and they get their own time, and so that everyone has what their needs are. An example, like I have 3 children. 2 of them are introverts and one of them is an extrovert. So the introverts, when they would just disappear, I would just, and of course the youngest one was the extrovert. I would just sort of grab onto her and say, no, you got to leave those 2 alone for a little while. They need their space. They need time. And it worked and worked very well. And actually today, they're all grown and they do respect each other's their personalities. They do respect that, which is wonderful. So
I have also one of my daughters are extrovert, another is introvert. I know the both sides, you know.
And I'm sure there were lots of arguments when they were younger.
Yes, especially with extrovert.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're always on the go. They're always on the go.
Yes.
And it's about keeping them active enough so that they're getting out that energy, and they're able to talk to people and not disrupt the family life and the other people in the family. Yeah, I know.
It's not
So
easy sometimes, yeah.
it's not always easy, that's for sure.
And what is your story? How did you start this? Probably you didn't do that just maybe a few years, or how many years?
Okay. Actually, it's a sort of an interesting journey. I started out in healthcare as a registered nurse, and I've been involved in healthcare in one way or another for over 45 years. So I worked as a nurse, and when I had my children, they had a lot of allergies. And so I became a nutritionist so I could help them. It was, they were sick all the time, and I couldn't figure out why. I followed all the doctor's recommendations, and nothing was working. So I became a nutritionist so I could figure out how to help them and help them to be healthy. And then
Nice from you. You start something new because of them. It's really nice.
it is one of those things, right? The other thing that happened was both my former husband and I came from families that were dysfunctional. We had problems in our families, and we didn't want to raise our children that way. And we knew that if you don't find a new way to do something, you end up sliding back into the old way. And so we didn't want to bring that forward. So we took a lot of parenting courses together. And from them, we sort of developed our own way of raising our children. And it ended up being a way where we actually coached our kids more than anything. And we made sure that we were treating them with dignity and respect so that they would always feel worthy and they'd always feel they could talk to us. So that started that journey. And then I also taught healthcare. I was teaching healthcare, and I was taking a personal a program to help me with personal development, and I started taking those because of my kids too, actually. and I was taking this program, and I was helping the lady beside me with some of the questions that on this questionnaire. And she said, "Oh, you're a coach." And I said, "Oh, no, I'm not a coach." And the person that was running the program said, "Oh, you're a coach." So I started taking coaching courses, and I took the traditional coaching course, and I took something called neurolinguistic programming. And I took something called Verbal Keto Master and Trainer, which is about how to speak to one another and how to have those really difficult or brave conversations. And I also became a prompt coach, and of course, and I'm a nutritionist and a holistic healer as well. So I kind of run the gamut. I am a life learner, so I don't think a year goes by where I don't learn something new.
Neither
So
me.
I
I'm
know.
always buying new courses, and I want to know everything about health and about holistic ways and everything.
It is, we have so much incredible information at our fingertips and so many wonderful people. And with the internet, we can help people all over the world, not just in our own backyard anymore. Like I help people all over the world, and I'm so excited that I can do that. And yeah, so it's always important to be learning something new and growing, because we grow
Yes.
when we learn.
Yes,
So.
I always telling that to to my clients also. It's not the end of anything if we are about 50-year old. We can learn every year something new, or we can have new goals and we can achieve them, and it's we have to learn always something new, because our mind also, we have to train our mind always, not just our body, I think.
Well, it's true. And our mind is such a fascinating thing. And the more we learn and the more variety of things we learn, the more our mind grows and the less chances we have of developing things like, dementia, like different types of dementia, because we build new pathways in our brain, which help to ward off dementia. And it's fun. Learning is fun. And,
Yes.
yeah, and when you learn something that you're completely new, that is really out of what you normally learn, they have to build even more neurons. So you have even less chances. So it's wonderful. Uh, I try to learn something new and different every year, something that I wouldn't normally learn. So this year that's why I became an AI prompt coach, because it's completely out of my wheelhouse, in the sense that, you think it's not part of wellness, and yet it's really part of family wellness, because, everyone's going to be using some form of AI. And so
Yes.
I learned how to do it so I can help parents and to learn how, and also so that they can see what their kids are doing and they can help their kids to make it the AI their voice and not the AI's voice. So that
Mhm.
because they're going to use it. So instead of saying, no, you can't, let's teach people how to make it their own voice, not someone else's. And then I have sites that I can send parents to, that they can test and see whether or not their own assignments or their children's assignments are human or AI. And
Mhm.
that way they can, so if they use, say, Chat GPT to do an assignment, they can plug it in and it'll come back. If it says AI, then they can go back and go, okay, my voice is not in here enough. So I can go in and change the wording and make it my story and do things like that.
Yes, I like to use it
Yeah.
also.
Well, you know what? Well, I think I use it every day.
Yeah,
And,
and I like
and
to make pictures also with AI.
oh,
So
me
I,
too.
I really enjoy it. This is my creative way of some it's fun for me, when I'm not
It
working. It's
it
every
is.
every day. It's half 30 minutes maybe. I just doing pictures.
It is, and the thing is, the pictures are really important for your advertising, right? And it's really
Yes.
important for learning. We need to remember that people learn through sight, through sounds, through smells, and through emotions. So if you have a picture, you have sight, you have emotion, and if you put some music behind it, you have sound. You have all these different things that people can learn and use. It works out very well, I think. I love using pictures. So, and since I don't draw well, but chat does, so I,
Yeah.
so I do use that. So.
So, and you are author of the Vital Link.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
Vital Lake, 9 Ways to Have More Health, Wealth, and Happiness. So my book is 9 areas of your life where if you can master them, and you'll have what I call vitality in your life. So you'll have peace, and you'll have harmony, you'll have joy. So there's chapters in the book that cover things like nutrition, but not what to eat, how to figure out what's best for you to eat, how to gauge your energy levels by what you're eating. So that when you're eating foods, you're eating foods for energy. I talk about how to make exercise a habit. Things like, and because you're in fitness and in nutrition, I think you'll sort of understand how that's important, because it gives flexibility and it gives creativity too, right? And there's chapters on communication. So there's one on just general communication, one on communicating with your spouse, and one on communicating with your children. So, and they all actually work together with one another. So I teach people, when you take my courses, I teach you about body language, and I teach about how to tell when somebody, just an example is, they used to say that your words didn't matter because your body language and your tone of voice were more important than your words.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually not true. What it is your body language and your tone of voice tell the person if the words are true, if they're, I have the gentleman that taught me my communication program. He says, so it's lie detection. So your body language and your tone of voice is lie detection. Because if your words are not if your words don't come from your heart, your body will say that, right? When you talk to somebody, and that you can tell right away whether they're coming from a place, of authenticity, or whether they're just trying to trick you, right? By the way their body and their face and their tone of voice, everything moves. So I teach I teach that as well, and as part of the communication program. So, and I do a great deal on happiness. And I talk about the foods that help build your serotonin and your dopamine are your happy hormones. So I talk about what you can do to help build those up. And I talk about happiness in the sense like things that you can do every day that bring you joy, and change the way your mind works. Like just simple thing of doing gratitudes every day will change how your mind works. Right? So we talk about things like that, which is I have this thing. I do 10 random gratitudes in the morning and 10 random ones before I go to bed. They don't have to be big, important. They don't have to be, I solved world peace today. It could be, I'm so grateful for my pillow because I am so tired. It could be something like, I'm grateful that I have this lovely table to sit on, to eat off of. And I find that those sorts of things really make a difference in a person's life. And it's about teaching them to yourself and to your family. It's interesting. I didn't learn about gratitude until my children were almost all gone. However, many of my friends, that's what they do at the dinner table. They sit around the dinner table and they talk about what they're grateful for that day. So that's wonderful, because it teaches everyone in the family to be grateful.
It's nice, yeah. I didn't know before a few years ago.
Well, yeah,
I didn't do that, but it's really important because we forget to be what many things are so beautiful about around us, and we don't notice it.
Yeah,
And what if that nice things would just disappear? We will, where are they? You say that, but now we have to be grateful for that.
Oh, yes, it is. It's really important. Like, I didn't really know very much about gratitude either when my children were young, and I didn't really learn, and they were away at school and university when I started to learn this stuff. And I couldn't get over how it changes your mind. It helps to change your thoughts, helps you
Yes.
to look at things in a different way.
Yeah.
And there's a saying, if you change your perception of something, you change your thoughts, you change your thoughts, you change your actions. And if you change your actions, you change your life.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. Sorry. What is a family mentor? You are
Oh, a
you
mentor.
call
Okay.
yourself
So a
family
mentor.
mentor.
So a mentor is someone that has done it. So because I have been so fortunate to have had all of the things that have happened in my life, and I have worked with families, I've worked a lot with teens and with women, uh, many entrepreneurial and business women, and patients. I actually have helped 147,000 people.
Wow.
So because I have had such incredible, been able to help so many people, I can mentor you, meaning the difference is I can help you with a decision that you're making. I can give you the possibilities. What a coach does is, and I coach as well. I use my coaching. However, because a mentor has done it already, has made all the mistakes already, so that you don't have to. Think of it that way.
Yeah. And you are uh, helping after the mentor.
So, yeah,
Did I understand good?
yeah. Oh, no, it's so fine. So when I my uh the mentorship program that I have is actually it's a full year program. And what it does
Oh,
is so you learn something, you practice it, and you get really good at it.
mhm,
And the idea is so that at the end of the year, you'll have vitality throughout your whole life. So that's
mhm.
the purpose of the mentorship program. And it's uh well, it's of course I do many programs. It's my favorite one. Uh
Yeah.
and that's because when people come, they grow so much in that time, and they learn so much. And I learn so much from everyone. Every person I speak to, I learn something wonderful from. So, and I also do a lot on sleep. Um, I actually have a free workshop that I do on sleep every 2 weeks, so that I do that because sleep is so important. And I know you
Yes.
work with many women that are in their 40s and 50s,
Yes.
and it's at a time when your hormones are changing and people are having difficulty with sleep. And if you had problems before, your problems are bigger now.
Mm-hmm.
So I work a lot with people that have difficulty with sleep, and uh, that's another program that I have, that I offer, just because I want people um, to sleep well. I had problems sleeping for years. I still, from time to time, have problems, and I have figured out what works for me and how many hours I need to be really feeling good the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to share that with people. So
Maybe it's different for everyone.
it is, and it's so. generally I can talk about just general things that help people to sleep. And then when I work with someone one-on-one individually, I look at their whole life and all the different things that in their life that can be affecting their sleep. And then we look to see what we can change. And then we start working together to make those changes so that like an example is a client who came to me and was she was perimenopausal, so she was in that time frame. However, she had had traumas before. Growing up, she'd had some trauma, and she had a great deal of stress in her life. So we worked on helping her with the trauma and finding ways to manage stress. Everybody says manage your stress, but nobody tells you how.
Mm-hmm.
So I work on techniques to manage stress, and we worked on her sleep habits, and we worked on the best foods for her to eat. And then she went to see, and I actually sent her to a naturopath to get, to get some specific things for her.
Mm-hmm.
And now she sleeps, most nights she sleeps about seven and a half hours. And that's compared to, they're sleeping 3 to 4 hours before. So it's been a
Mm-hmm.
change. So, and so that's just sort of an example of one of the things that I've done to help people with sleep. And for my own self, I have worked, I didn't have trouble with sleep until I became perimenopausal. And when I hit menopause and it was over, I thought the sleep disturbances would settle down, and they didn't. They got better in some ways and worse in others. And so I went on a quest. That's how I learned about sleep, to find out why I wasn't sleeping and how I could get better sleep. And that started me on the journey of, like, I had been working with clients on sleep, and it started me on my own journey as well. And it's nice because, like an example is wine. They say that if you drink wine or any alcohol 6 hours before you go to sleep at night, it will affect your ability to sleep. So for me, it's 4 hours, but the average is 6. So, and I only got there by trying it out, right? And seeing how it works. And I use some technology as well to help. Just as sort of an example, I wake up when I get ready for bed. You know how you're tired, you get ready for bed, and then all of a sudden you're awake again? So I have a routine to be sure that I'm finished getting ready for bed at least an hour before I want to get into bed. And that way I've woken up and I've calmed down and unwound again and gone back to sleep. So that when I get into bed, I fall asleep more quickly. So all those little
Mm-hmm.
different things, and it's by working with people that I get to figure out those things, and we get to really get down to what makes sleep for you revitalizing, what makes your wake time wonderful, right? Because when you're tired, you walk around, you're hazy, you tend to be depressed, you don't want to be around people, all those things. Yeah.
I meditate when I can't sleep, so
And you
using
know
some
what?
guided meditation sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes just music. It depends, but I sleep with that.
It is one of my suggestions. Meditation definitely is. I meditate. I have a meditation program that I do in the morning and in the evening. So it helps me to unwind. That way I'm more ready for bed. However, when I'm really super stressed or I have deadlines, I find sometimes I can't concentrate on the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't concentrate on it. So I go to other techniques and skills that I have to help get me to a place where I can listen to the meditation. Otherwise, because when my mind is racing so fast, it can be very, um, uh, it can be very hard to focus it enough to meditate, even when it's guided. And I remember the first time that happened to me, I was like, I thought, what do you mean? What are you talking? Why am I still awake? I fall asleep usually 15 minutes into the meditation. What happened? And it was because I sat down and realized I was under a great deal of stress at that point, and my mind just was going in a million places. Yeah.
Yes. I know it's happening sometimes.
And
And
go ahead.
oh, I just wanted to ask about what are you doing, not about sleep, but about your family mentoring. When somebody in the family is abusive, what can you advise then?
Okay. Um,
Not on physical way, let's say, just on verbal way.
okay. So one of the goals of my program is that there's different reasons for abuse. Sometimes abuse is learned, right? Sometimes it's related to addiction, and sometimes it's just related to hard times. And um, something is when you teach people how to speak to each other, even when it's difficult, that cuts back on a lot of the anger. And like, you know how somebody says something to you and you become really angry and upset, and you don't talk about it, and then finally 6 months, a year later, you actually tell them, and you realize that, if you'd had a conversation, they were thinking something totally different. Just give you
Mhm.
an example. When um when my marriage, or when I was married, my I decided that my husband at the time had a very high stress job. So I decided that I would do the jobs that he had around the house, because I thought that way he can come home and he won't have any stress at home. And then when we were actually separating and we had to actually sit down and talk, he said to me, he said, "You took all my jobs away, so I didn't feel like I was part of the family."
Mm.
Exactly. And he was angry about that for 20 years. And the thing is, there's the conversation here is, number one, I never asked him. I just assumed, which I should not have done. You ask people, you have that conversation. You're really in a lot of stress. I'd like to take some of the work at home off your hands to make your life easier. Would you like me to do that? And what do you want me to do? I never asked that question. And at the same side, he never said to me, "Hey, don't do, I want to do that. I might do
Mhm.
it late, but I want to do that." And so it sort of worked both ways. Whereas if we had the knowledge and the skills on how to speak to one another, that would not have happened. I mean, think about it. Like, for 20 years, he was angry. He thought I was taking his duties away from the family, which,
Mhm.
in hindsight, I didn't really want them. Right?
So
I
it
thought
just
I thought it was being helpful. I wasn't being helpful. So that's just sort of an example of what can happen if you don't have the conversation. And if the conversation, say an example is, I do have one chapter on money, and it's just a very basic chapter. But when I do, if you're part of the membership program, I bring speakers in and we talk in a lot more depth on money during that time period. So if you're always financially strapped, or you don't know how to budget your money, then it creates a lot of problems in the home. And so the two things that can really cause a lot of friction are not being able to talk to each other and not having enough money. Those things can create abuse. Sometimes physical, usually it's emotional abuse, right?
Mhm.
If there's an addiction, the addiction creates usually very often what happens with an addiction is it's what we call self-medicating. Often addiction, if you talk to the person, you find out that before the addiction, they had some sort of mental health problem. It could have been depression is the most common in anything. And what happened was that they started using alcohol or drugs or whichever advice they use, because in the beginning, it helped them to alleviate this emotional pain. However, over time, it switches to something that causes more pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a program that will help people with addictions. However, you have to really want to change, right? You can't force someone who's addicted to change. So there's those programs. If it's not something that a person wants to change, it's the conversation that I have with the person that's being abused. It's a very different conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I taught when I was teaching healthcare. I taught people about abuse, the different kinds of abuse, how to spot it, what to do about it, and at what point do they have to say, enough is enough. So it is something that I've worked with women in the past. No men have come forward. Men are abused probably almost as maybe at least half or 2/3 as often as women, and particularly in their childhood when they're most vulnerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I very often however, it's women that generally come to me with abuse issues.
Yeah. Thank you. So you have so many
Well,
programs.
I've been very
Can
I've been very fortunate in the sense that I have lived, a long time working in nursing. You learn so much about these things. For so long, you're always learning. And because I'm always, looking to help people, I'm always researching. I'm always learning more, taking more courses, learning more techniques so that I can help people.
So nice. So last question. What is
Actually,
your message to my listener?
okay. The message to the listener is treat everyone with dignity and respect, even when you're angry, because when people feel dignity, they feel worthy, and when they have respect, they feel they can say anything to you. So by treating each other with dignity and respect, it opens the conversation so that you'll know, um, you'll know each other better. And when you know each other well and you're comfortable with each other, then you can have those conversations that you wouldn't have with anyone else. So I think that's a message that I like to give. And the other thing is believe in yourself. As women, we often don't believe in ourselves. And yet we're so capable of so much. And we don't recognize all the things that we can do or have done. So believe in yourself. I think that would be my 2 messages.
Thank you. Nice.
You're welcome. And so,
yeah. And you can say how much program you have? Just a few words.
okay. So
What can? a
Okay, so
spectrum is?
if you watch out on Eventbrite, every 2 or 3 weeks, I do a program on sleep that's free. And then if you want to contact me, I can give you my contact information. You can book a free consultation with me for 30 minutes. And then I have a free paper on sleep, but because it's something that I'm realizing we're all missing. That's why I'm really promoting sleep. I have a 1-year program that includes 10 workshops and speakers throughout the year. And every week we meet to practice and hone our skills so that by the end of the year, you have vitality in every area of your life. Those are my programs. However, best today to just get to know me a little bit by either coming to my free sleep program, or contacting me, and I will send you a copy of my paper on sleep and how to have magnificent sleep. So
Thank
those
you.
are okay. And there you go. Is there anything I can do for you?
Oh, thank you for coming.
Oh,
I'm a menopause coach. I also working with women, and I giving them. Um, I usually say, if you don't believe enough in yourself, I will believe that you can do my program.
I'll believe for you. That is great. I like that. That is great. So, so you are a fitness and a menopause coach.
Yes, health and fitness coach, and also
Mhm.
life coach. But my program is not just about losing weight. It's about healthy aging, and it's about mindset, a bit about stress management, about diet, and about movements, and it's all together. It's it's I can't separate that because it's all going together. Then we after 50, I'm 55. After 50, it's getting more important to focus on our health, because it's crucial to stay vital, to stay energized, because if we will have 60, 70, or 80, uh, we have to stay strong and energized. I don't want to help me somebody to go to the toilet, or to go to grocery. I want to do it alone.
No, I am the same way. And that's one of the reasons why I teach all this, is because I want people to be healthy, not physically and mentally healthy for their lives. I want them to have great immune systems. And just like you, we do a lot of the same things, just in a different way. So
Yes.
it's just nice.
And
It's
it's
just
so
really
nice you
nice.
so nice you work with family, because it's I was thinking about to have the program for a couples, for example, because it's much easier to do a program when they are doing together, and they are helping each other, and encouraging each other.
It is. And then when they're when they're at home, they can talk about it and practice it together. And it makes a
Yeah,
difference.
maybe
So
I will do this program for couples. Yeah.
why not? I mean, why not do that? And then
Yeah.
you can help two people at a time, and it'll trickle down. I When I first did my mentorship program, almost everyone in the program was a grandparent, because they knew that you don't raise children the same way as they're looking after their grandchildren, and they can't raise them the same way they raise their own children because times are different now.
Yes.
And so if you have a program for couples, then their parents are going to see how much they've improved and how much better their children's lives are. And they're going to come to you too.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and their friends will come. Yeah, it is. It works. And, and women and men are different. Like, men have a different way of doing things and seeing things. And, they will just go to their friend, hey, I'm doing this. It's really good. I want you to come. And they'll go. Whereas women, that's their sales pitch. Women, it's like, they want to tell you everything about the program. So it takes, it's, it's different. So.
Yeah. And I also have a book. I also.
Oh, you do? Good. Oh, what's your
Yes.
book?
Yeah. It's Tame the Menopause.
Oh,
100 Days to Healthier, Fitter You in Menopause.
oh,
That
that
is the
sounds
title.
really good. And is it where do you have it?
On Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Okay. And
Yes.
has it been translated into English?
I wrote on English.
Oh, you wrote it in English. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's fantastic. I would I would never attempt to write anything in Hungarian. Good for
I
you.
I wrote on English first, then I translate it to Hungarian. And now they can buy here in Hungary also.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Your book is also on Amazon.
Actually, no, it's not on Amazon. I took it off. I've done an Audible and I'm relaunching it all. So that
Oh.
so then it'll be the book. It will be on a Kindle and it'll be on Audible so that it all comes out at the same time. So that because I'm finding a lot of people want to listen, and many people don't buy books. They'll put it on Kindle. They don't buy the book anymore. So I decided that
Mhm.
I would do that just to get a greater audience.
My book is not just a book, it's a journal also. And I
Oh,
giving task in this book. So there is always some new test. They have to write their uh, what they feel or what I ask from them. And there are also tests for movements, and I giving them a link to my workouts. And it's so complex, you know.
oh, it sounds very complex. It does.
Yes.
So my book has uh, activities in it and so that you can learn the skills. Uh, However, what you've done is much more work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote what I taught. So it's
I just thought that it's women. I want to help as many women as I can. So I thought not just who can buy my program.
Mhm.
With my book, I can help to anyone. And if somebody is persistent, they can do without me with my book.
Yeah, that's very good. That's awesome. Because it's true. Some people they um they are persistent, and if you give them a book, they'll figure it out. And other people, they want to be they want to be there. They want to be taught.
Yeah.
It's all about your personality, right? And how you learn best. So
Mm.
it works.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. Thank you.
It was so easy to chat with you.
Oh, thank you. I thought this was a wonderful conversation. I think of interviews as just being a great conversation with one another and where we share information. So,
Yeah. I will put down your website and everything and your
oh,
book link.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate that.
you. Thank
Okay.
you for coming.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. And I hope I'll see you again. All right.
I hope
So,
so. We can chat again.
okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.